Oh, hi.
Welcome. We're introducing Ben Morea now to speak a bit about his book, Full Circle, A Life in Rebellion, and to offer, to contextualize and articulate a bit about his life, and then open up a discussion with folks here at Pitt and online. So please, if you have any questions for Ben throughout the talk, please put them in the chat. Ben will not be appearing on video, just on audio for reference. So Ben, if you can hear us and if you can talk, welcome again to the 19th Annual Anarchist Book Fair. It's such a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. His book.
I can hear you.
Good. Ben, hi.
Hi, Ben.
We are
Can
here.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear really well.
Hey, Ben, it's Jim.
Great.
You see, Jim, Jess, me, everybody
Ciao,
here. Love you.
Hello.
Love.
How are you, Ben?
I am good.
In Colorado.
Colorado. Okay,
I'm
Ben.
really good.
Okay, great. Look, we want to hear from you for your new book called Full Circle, A Life in Rebellion. Can you talk about your book?
Yes, I can.
Great, thank you. What the
Can you hear me good, though?
We can
Yeah.
hear you.
Okay.
We hear you, Ben.
All right. So, the book starts with the beginnings of my life. And it follows my progression from art to politics to spirituality. And I consider those essential, all three. Especially the latter part of spirituality, because art and politics alone is not enough. In fact, politics has never led to a revolutionary change of life. It's led often to a dictatorship as bad as the one it overthrew. So what's always been lacking in these revolutionary changes is the spiritual understanding of life itself, the need for a free life, a life without constraints, without authority, oppression. And so Full Circle traces my metamorphosis to that point. And I could give a short history of how it led to that. I was born in the Maryland, Virginia area. And when I was 10 years old, my mother remarried and moved into Manhattan. So from the age of 10 on, I was in Manhattan in a city project in the ghetto area. It was the north end of Hell's Kitchen. And that area, the north end of Hell's Kitchen, was often called San Juan Hill, because there was a lot of Cuban musicians there that had left Cuba when the Castro overthrow. And in that area of Hell's Kitchen, North End, there was a lot of musicians. It was a musical area. Thelonious Monk lived there, Miles Davis. There was a lot of jazz as well as Cuban music. And I started playing jazz at the age of 14. And unfortunately, very soon after, I became involved with the use of heroin. And I was addicted by the age of 16. And I spent a lot of time in jails and under arrest for different drug-related charges. And at some point, my liver gave out, probably a form of serum hepatitis, very viral form that destroyed my liver. So at that time, I was in jail, and I was put in a prison hospital.
Need to talk to them.
And the hospital was a traditional hospital, but it had one floor for men's prison and one floor for women's prison. And that hospital had a therapist that used to visit the prison floors.
Confirmed.
And the therapist that I had pointed out that this was the third time I had done cold turkey. That is the withdrawal from heroin without any medical assistance. And that it was the third time I had done cold turkey. My liver was gone. And she said, if I were to survive after I left my jail time, I would end up back again, because every time I got out of jail or prison, I went back to heroin and jazz. So she suggested that I give up music because it keeps bringing me back to heroin, and started a therapeutic use of art. And when I was released from my prison term, I never went back to jazz, and I never went back to heroin. And I stayed with art, and I got extremely involved with the whole development of art, from the history of art and my own development within it. And at some point, I realized that art alone was not sufficient to change life. I was becoming more and more political and more aware of the needs that this oppressive society had put upon man. And so, since I felt that art wasn't enough, I became more and more political and added it to my art. And I put out a journal called Black Mask, which attempted to combine art and politics. And we put out 10 issues of Black Mask. And at that point, I had really become totally involved in the political struggle, the radical struggle. It was the time of the Vietnam War, and it was time of the racial upheaval, the beginnings of the racial struggle against racism in America. And my politics and my anti-racism efforts replaced the journal. It was no longer sufficient, and we became street fighters, political activists, and that replaced the publication. And we became a group, a family. We called it a family. We were never an organization. We had no membership. You couldn't join it. You were just part of it. And so the family grew. And the first public event that the family did was to bring garbage. There was a garbage strike in New York. And garbage on the Lower East Side was piling up to places where it was 10 feet and higher. And there was no garbage uptown in the wealthy areas. So we decided that they should have some of the garbage as well. And they had just built Lincoln Center. So we brought the garbage up to Lincoln Center and dumped it in the wading pool. And we put out a flyer called a cultural exchange, garbage for garbage. That Lincoln Center represented some elitism and control of the arts, and we rejected that. So we dumped the garbage in the wading pool. We didn't have a name for our group, but we considered it like a family, but we didn't have a name for the group. And on the leaflet accompanying the Lincoln Center event, since we had no name, I wrote on it, "Up against the wall, motherfucker," not as a name, but as a revolutionary cry. But a lot of people, because that was on the leaflet, they thought that was our name. But that would have been a little arrogant to call yourselves that as a name. And it came from a Leroy Jones poem, who I was friends with Leroy Jones. And we took that phrase out of one of his poems. But people started referring to us as that, as a name. And we continued the street struggle. We, at that time, it was the Vietnam era, the Vietnam War era. And we not only opposed the Vietnam War, but we felt that it must stop. And that if it didn't, we would die attempting to stop it. It had to stop. We became suicide warriors, dedicated to that. And that struggle kept escalating. We broke into the Pentagon, the only people in history to break into the Pentagon. The first and last time that'll ever happen, and we were beaten out. This anti-war struggle kept escalating, going to the point of the weathermen and different groups, including ours, that were involved with different sabotage events. The anti-war effort kept escalating, and the government at some point realized that they were going to lose it, that it was just going to go higher and higher and higher. And so they chose, rather than lose control of society, that they would bring about the end of the war. So we felt successful. We felt that our dedication was part of that struggle that brought it to an end. And that's always really troubled me, that There's nothing like that today. Like, it's, you know how long it's taken for the Gaza genocide to be stopped? It's unbelievable how long it has gone on. It must be stopped. Anyway, at some point, there was attempt at my assassination. There were 3 attempts made by the different law enforcement agencies. So I disappeared. I disappeared for 40 years. And in that time, I became more and more aware of the spiritual need as well, that politics was not enough. There's been many revolutions on Earth, but none of them have led to the change that they fought for, that they died for. It's turned, at some point, turned to dictatorships worse than what they overthrew. So the Tsar was overthrown, but you end up with Stalin, and now you have Putin. America, you have they fought for some what they considered a revolutionary change, and you end up with Trump. I mean, so there's something missing, that all revolutionary movements have led to a dictatorship and control. And so I thought the spiritual was the element missing, one that showed that life itself is what's essential, a free life, a life without authoritarian control. And so many of the so-called revolutionary movements have been authoritarian. Marxism, Leninism, they're authoritarian, and they lead to dictatorships. Even Lenin had the audacity to call dictatorship of the proletariat, dictatorship. And sure enough, that's what they ended up with, dictatorship. So in order to prevent that from that continuation of all change, revolutionary movements becoming authoritarian dictatorships, I felt that the spiritual understanding, the value of life itself, the beauty of creation, the need for free flow in this existence, I would dedicate toward myself too. And so, besides the need for political change, we need to change the way we understand life itself, so that we have a non-authoritarian system, one that allows people to live freely. And so my struggle is continued. And the full circle is the effort to show that growth and need. So I hope that people are able to find that publication, that they maybe have a chance to read it, maybe have some understanding of the need for change, the need for revolution, but a non-authoritarian revolution. Marxism will never lead to a non-authoritarian revolution. It's based on authority, on control, on parties, organizations. So we need alternative means to build a free life, a revolutionary life. So if there's any, like, if, you know, I think it's pretty clear my feelings about it, my understanding. So if there's any questions, I'm more than willing to answer any questions. But I really hope people are able to find that publication and maybe just find some value in it, find something useful in their life, useful for this change. We need a change desperately. What we have now is this authoritarian control system. It's untenable. It leads to things like genocide in Gaza. It leads to all the full prisons that we have. So we have to understand what a revolution is needed, but a non-authoritarian one based on the sanctity of life itself. And it's a spiritual thing. It is absolutely not religion. Spirituality is the opposite of religion. Religion is built to control man, to dictate to man. And spirituality frees man and women, frees them. Whereas religion is the opposite. So a religion it's absurd. Like books. Do you think that the Creator writes books, Bibles? The Creator makes life, not books. And so we have to understand life itself and find a way to translate that. Anyway, if there's any questions, I'm more than willing.
Oh, Ben, we are here. We don't have words to say thank you for these incredible thoughts. Share your thoughts with us. I read the book. I love this book. And we have here many journeys here. Look, you know, one thing is like, you know, that I don't understand how people go to march Palestine, but then pay tax. You know what I mean? I mean, we need to understand where the money goes, you know, and how the money support this structure, this society's capitalism, and then how money is the mechanism, the cell for this shit. How can we, you know, stop money and live in mutual idea?
I don't completely understand the question, but
sorry, my bad in English. Sorry.
There's a need to go back to trade.
What happened?
With each other.
It's okay.
And barter, like to reduce the use of money. Like to concentrate more on barter and trade. And theft doesn't hurt either.
Yeah.
Hey Ben, it's Jim.
Yeah.
We just want to say one thing, that your book Full Circle is one of our favorite books here at Pitt, and
yeah,
everyone here loves it, and we've moved quite a few of them through here. I wanted to ask you how your experience in the wilderness would influence your ideas about money and barter and trade and living and life.
That's a great question. That's a great question, Jim. when I went to the wilderness, I lived on horseback in the wilderness for 4 years, 5 years. And I survived on hunting and gathering. No store-bought goods, living on what was provided by creation itself. And when I went into the wilderness, in the back of my mind was some understanding and need to find what it was that we really needed in this life. I wanted to go back to zero, get as far from civilization as I could, and rely on the Creator and what's provided by creation. So I relied on hunting and gathering for 5 years, and I learned so much about the basic need of life, the fulfillment of life, away from a money economy, away from the civilization which leads to imprisonment. And then when I came out of the wilderness, I continued living on with nature, homesteading, and growing food, and still hunting and having livestock. I wanted to continue a life that needed civilization as little as possible. And that's what I really feel we need to build alternatives. Like we need to, as when possible, to grow our own food, to hunt, continue to hunt. And hunting has a dual need. It allows you to understand weaponry that could be of use in defense, as well as helps provide sustenance. So it's a necessity when possible. Does that make any sense to you?
It does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
Absolutely. Great. Super. Okay, we need to go to Colombia now. Is that?
But
If somebody here have questions for being,
What's that?
Questions here? Yeah, look like no questions. Everybody loves being.
yeah,
Everybody's here.
Well,
Do you like? Oh,
I wish I was there.
I wish you were here, Toby. We miss you. Yeah.
I wish I could talk to you and face to face, because I miss you all.
Yeah, we too.
And I'm getting older in this life, and I don't know how much longer I have, but the struggle must go on. It's so necessary.
Absolutely.
It has to intensify. Like
Yeah.
that's in the 60s, I coined the term affinity group. That people need to develop affinity groups where that group can do things without being known. The only people who know what they're doing is that group itself, a small affinity group, 3 or 4 people. And they coordinate with other affinity groups.
Exactly.
And so much can be done.
Exactly.
The planet is a total soft target. There's no reason that this, like, Israel can't be stopped.
Yeah.
The world is a soft target every place, wherever there's Israeli things, existence, it has to be dismantled. A genocide cannot continue, and all forms of oppression must be stopped.
Well, Ben, thank you so much. We're here from the book fair. We don't have words enough to thank you for, everything you say. Each word was really deep in our heart. And then we need to move to Colombia because the cohorts for Colombia go now to talk. But thank you so much, and hope next year we are with us, okay?
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
I look forward to seeing you all again.
Yeah, we see you soon, Ben. Love you.
Ciao, Ben.
Ciao, Ben.
Love you, Ben.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Keep up the struggle. Keep up the struggle. Never give up the struggle.
We keep going, Ben. We keep going. We keep going for sure. Okay, now